Audiophiles, your one once-in-a-lifetime perfect listening session. Could it be your last listening session? I received an interesting comment recently. I'm going to quote it in full. It always makes me laugh that most audiophiles are above the age of 50. If you know anything about human hearing, you start losing your hearing range after the age of 50. I would bet £100 this guy wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a 320 MP3 and a wave put through a good DAC if he was blindfolded. Care to take the test, fella? Yes, that's fella with an A. I suppose he's trying to be friendly. At least he didn't call me a chap. But it did get me thinking. Audiophiles generally upgrade their system as they become older, wiser and richer. So their system becomes more and more highly resolving. But as they are getting older, their hearing is degrading. Everyone suffers an increasing loss of high frequencies as they age. And also, as you go through life, it isn't unlikely that your hearing is damaged to an extent through wear and tear due to exposure to loud sound. And then, I'm not an audiologist, by the way, so don't quote me, there's arthritis in your ossicle bones. I'm saying ossicle bones as a tautology to prove I'm not an audiologist, but it's a thing, and you can look it up if you want to scare yourself how bad things can get. So this is a bit of a conundrum. An audiophile system gets better as their hearing gets worse. And I don't think I'm saying anything that isn't true here. Audiophiles upgrade, hearing degrades. The first thing I get from this is that there must be a point where an audiophile's listening experience is at its optimum. I mean, actual sound here. An audiophile's appreciation of music and performance can increase until he's dead. Or she's dead, if you're one of the 3% of my viewers who are female. Come on, ladies, pull your weight. Shouldn't have said that. This point will be different for different people. I would ask you, do you think you've passed that point yet, or have you yet to reach it? If you haven't peaked, then perhaps you might try to work out exactly when your peak will be, and plan a special listening session for that evening. You'll never have another session like it again in your life. Or maybe never have another session. These are fun things to consider. Well, what I call fun anyway, but I have more. Okay, we know that audiophiles are filthy rich. Well, that's not really true. Some are and have amazing systems to show for it. Some are audiophiles in spirit, but could never afford a system that would do their enthusiasm justice. Suppose you're in the middle. You have a very good system, classic items, but you're not overflowing with money. As you age, and I'll remind you once more that your hearing is degrading, it's already worse today than it was yesterday, and it will be worse still tomorrow. Suppose by chance you are at your peak of listening right now. The combination of your system being very good and your hearing being just good enough to enjoy it fully. Well, in a year's time, 2 years, 5 years, your system will be too good for your hearing. That's not a bad thing in itself, but you have money locked away in your system and you could possibly be using that money better in some other way. Spend it on something you still have the capacity to enjoy. Your Harley-Davidson motorbike, perhaps, that will easily last you into your twilight years. So, let's suppose you have a 50k system. To me, that's a lot of money. But there are plenty of people who have that kind of money to spend on audio. And you, for my thought experiment today, are one of them. You could sell it. Remember, I said you have classic equipment and classic equipment doesn't depreciate. You could sell it and buy a 25k system, freeing up 25k for something else that you want, or something your wife wants. Happy wife, happy life, as they say. And the great thing about this is that you won't hear any difference. Your hearing is too degraded. 10 years down the line and you can sell up again for a 10k system. You've made yourself another 15k, and this time it's your turn to treat yourself. Your new system will sound just as good to you as your old one. You know, I don't think this is unreasonable. But going back to what my commenter said, perhaps we should match systems to listeners because it's simply the right thing to do. So, when you get to be really old, like me, you won't be able to tell the difference between MP3 and 2496. So it makes sense then to change your system for an MP3 player and an amp and speakers that have similar losses, distortion, frequency response issues, stuff that you're just not going to hear. And year by year, you can optimize your storage by reducing your bitrate. Start at 320 kilobits per second, then 256, then 128. As an audiophile, you are still an audiophile, that's probably as low as you would want to go. But going back to that one perfect listening session, as I suggested in the title and introduction to this video, perhaps your one perfect listening session should be your last. You're never going to achieve the same heights of perfection ever again, so you should allow your one perfect listening session to remain only in your memory. This has been a fun video, hasn't it? Things are going to get worse. But look at the positives. As you approach middle age, your system gets better and better. Then as you get older, you can reclaim the money you previously invested. In fact, you've travelled the whole of your audiophile career and it's cost you nothing. Well, if you bought classic or future classic equipment. So let me know in the comments. When you make your first system downgrade, what are you going to buy for your wife? And if you're one of my 3% female viewers, what are you going to buy for your husband? See you soon.